AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.
The NBA finalists are out this season. The award, Defensive Player of the Year, Dyson Daniels, Evan Mobley, and good old Draymond Green.
The Defensive Player of the Year candidate is ridiculous. I have a big issue. OG should have been in there. It could be my Knicks bias, but watching what he's had to do all season, knowing that he's the only defender on the team, Mitch came in late and Mitch is still not healthy. We have literally one defender on the team. And for OG to not be considered is ridiculous. What the hell is Draymond Green there for? There was a fucking playing team. What defense did, like, so for me, I think that's clear cut Dyson Daniels. I think what that young man has did all season on the defensive end, picking guys up, you know, baseline to baseline, he gives Brunson hell. Leads the league in steals, like he said, or Fabian, I think one of y'all said that, 3 steals per game. I think he got so many steals in the season. Listen, I think the award should be his, but to have Draymond Green up there is ridiculous. And it just goes to show y'all the league is into clickbait like everybody else. There is no reason for Draymond Green to be considered for that award. Top 3? Now, if they had a top 10 list and his ass was 7, 8, 9, 10, I get it. But top 3 list, and he's on that list, that shit is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it just goes to show y'all how bad the NBA is. Guys like us love the game so much, that's why we watch it. But people that don't love the game are not in love with the game, this is why they don't watch it. And this is why they don't like it, because when it comes to some of these awards, excuse my French, it's bullshit. Draymond Green shouldn't be considered for no award unless it's fighting or technical fouls. Put an award for a motherfucker that should get thrown out every single game in the first 10 minutes. He'll win that award. But for him to be considered now for his career, is he a great defensive player? Yes. But this year, with Zubac not in that, OG not in that, and him in the likes of a Daniels, who can change the game defensively, guard the guys he has to guard. Now, I'm not saying Draymond can't play defense at all. In his spots, he can make a big defensive play, but he shouldn't be considered that, man. Like I said, if you want to argue top 5 and he's the 5th or top 10, I'm not going to argue. But top 3, ridiculous. Ridiculous.
What you thinking, Flea?
For me, I don't really have a problem with him being in there because I still think he anchors that defense. And for them, since they what makes it tough is because they went on this run when they got Jimmy Butler and they were like 18-2 over 20 games. But within those 20 games, they were like the best defense in the league during that stretch. And he's anchoring it. And so that's where the argument comes from him, because the last quarter of the season, that last run, right, to the end, he's a part of the best defense in the league. And so now the media is like, okay, so he deserves some votes. So that's why I say I wouldn't give him the award, but I understand why he's there now. But for me, it's Evan Mobley. Just in terms of what Cleveland is on the defensive end. And everybody thinks that Jared Allen is the anchor to that defense. He's not. It's really Mobley. How versatile he is on the defensive end, how he can rim protect, jump out there and guard guards, be able to switch on guards. He's not very vocal, but everybody knows where they're supposed to be on defense on that team. And you got a bunch of non-defenders on that team. Donovan Mitchell, as Fabian has been saying since the day I met him, Donovan Mitchell is shit on defense. He's been saying that for years. Darius Garland, a smaller guard who cannot guard his position, and they are a top 5 team on defense in the league all season long, right? And so he's the anchor for that. He's just made leaps and bounds on the defensive end for me. There's no knock against Dyson Daniels. I just feel like Dyson Daniels is on a team that is not good. He's great. That's why he sticks out on defense. But the team isn't very good. So what you do defensively don't really affect them wins or losses. It's tough for OG, right? We're a good team. But if you look at us on the defensive end, majority of the year, we're the bottom half. So how do we get a guy to win the award when, as a collective, we're on the bottom half of the defense in the league in defense.
But Flea, hold on. But just real quick, just like you said, Golden State had a stretch where they played great defense. We had a stretch as well where we played great defense. So I'm just saying, if we're going with stretches, because let's be realistic, none of these teams we're talking about played great defense all season, from our Knicks to our Golden State. Of course, Atlanta. But I'm just saying, to be considered, I don't mind Draymond Green being there. But top three, I can't go with that, Flea. I'm sorry, I just can't.
I ain't mad at that, but the award I gave it to was the most consistent defensive team in the league, and that's Cleveland with Mobley. So I would give it to him for sure.
And to me, the most consistent, or more so the team that really came around defensively, and I'm like, damn, this is kind of crazy, is the Clippers. I got the Jeff Van Gundy bias, Flea. So I got to promote this as heavily as possible. They've been playing great. I think Zubac is the leader of that, and it's not talked about enough. And the other thing is with these, Chris Dunn plays like 19, 20 minutes, and I've been talking about him since the summertime. And I said, and because I didn't know he was
playing
a top 5
his ass off defensively, Fabian.
Tough.
If he can hit more shots, he becomes a deadly player. Because 1-on-1, but that's 3-and-D, bro. But the way he stays in front of his man, that is kind of crazy what he does. He just can't stay on the court enough because of the offense. And I didn't realize he shot that bad, but you surrounded the right guys around Zubac, and I'm not sure if that's the reason why Draymond, the DeAnthony Melton injury did hurt them. And yeah, Draymond is Draymond, but you needed DeAnthony Melton there. Evan Mobley has the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have been consistent. I guess the beginning of the calendar year felt like Cleveland started showing some chinks in their armor. Another thing though with these sports writers, they always go to this defensive win share stat, and I'm gonna go with defensive win share and win share stats, and I'm only bringing it up because they always bring it up, and it's just funny to me when they do stuff like this. So Draymond Green was at 3.4 with defensive win shares, 3.7 win shares. Then you got Zubac, he's at 4.7 defensive win shares, 11.7 win shares. Then the next guy over is Dyson Daniels, 3.7 defensive win shares, 5.0 win shares. Then you got Mobley, 3.8, 9 on the win shares, and then OG Anunoby. This is why I think they started to disqualify him. He's at 2.8 defensive win shares and 6.5 for win shares. So Draymond's at 3.4, a little over OG Anunoby. But if they're going with that, I don't see how Zubac is not All NBA first team and how he's not Defensive Player of the Year front runner. That to me is insane. It's way easier for the centers and the big men to get Defensive Player of the Year, especially after you see what Gobert, how he gets all these awards. Like, it's starting to feel forced more and more, promoting the game to the French guys over there, and so many French guys got drafted this year. But it feels forced now, because how can you say that with Zubac there? Excuse me. And I don't know if we expected him to be the leader of a defense like this. They play tough. All they're missing is one more guy, and it turns into something else. If Kawhi has a flashback for 10 games in the playoffs, it might really be a wrap with the Clippers out there. Yeah. So I'm just surprised how the voters, they go with this, and they lean heavily on the stats, Flea.
Look, Ray, one guy got to win the award, right? So at the end of the day, one guy has to win the award. But I think with this award specifically, like, there's so much nuance to defense and how it affects your team. And like you just broke down defensive win shares and win shares beautifully, right? I think, you need to get a real understanding of what defense and why we could talk about that offline, but like why they are so heavily on that, because, it's a stat that, if you go back, even when they weren't using the stat, and then they built in the stat to like the 80s and the 70s, all the guys that you thought were even remotely good on defense, it shows once you start building that stat in. So it's a really good stat. That's why they lean on it. But I just think,
real quick. Trust me, I know, because that's what I went back to with Akeem Olajuwon in the '88 season, and it was higher than Mike's. And Mike's was really crazy, but Akeem was like, "You forgetting about me, y'all."
Right. So I just think it's so much nuance with defense. That one guy got to win the award, but I think you'll be more satisfied when you see the first team all defense, second team all defense, because then you'll see the guys that you want, right, OG? The guys that you want recognition, OG better be first team all defense this year. I don't want to hear shit from nobody, right? Zubac better be first team all defense this year.
Right.
OG, the team should probably be Zubac, Mobley, OG,
Daniels,
and to be honest, Draymond. That should be the first team. After
like I said, I'm not gonna argue that. Like I said, my initial argument was if y'all want to have them top 5 in these 5, I have no problem with that. But top 3, I can't nobody convince me of that. I'm sorry, and it may be because I dislike his ass, but it is what it is.
I'm sure they'll try to get a guard in there. I'm sure Drew Holiday will make the team again. As one of those teams. Like,
he ain't played enough games this season, man.
He just can't be
okay.
He did it?
Did he? Wasn't he out for it? But
did he play 65?
I don't think. I don't know. Get me out of here, man.
Yeah, he just ball through the door out there, man.
He was out for a little stretch though. I don't know how long though.
Second, yeah.
All right, I'll look it up real quick before
we. He ain't played great defense this season.
One word answers real fast. We don't need no deep dives, no nothing. Rapid fire. 6 men of the year, Peyton. 6 men of the year, Peyton Pritchard and Malik Beasley. Who you got, OG?
Not even close. Peyton Pritchard.
Who you got, Fabian?
Get Mid Beasley out of here. Enough of your shenanigans, Flea. What you talking about? And by the way, Drew Holiday did play 62 games, so he can't get the award.
He ain't gonna make a team. Yeah, give me Peyton Pritchard too.
AllBall TV. They scared, but I'm not. They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.